My first life was a quiet one, built on responsibility and the steady, reassuring weight of my father's construction company. He'd always told me, Maya, this will be half yours one day. You have the head for it. My brother, Derek, had the charm, but not the discipline. After Dad died, the company became our shared legacy, but I was the one who managed the books, who stayed late, who knew the names of every crew member's kids. Derek just reaped the benefits. My rival wasn't a stranger. He was my own blood, the golden boy who could do no wrong in our mother's eyes, even as he gambled away his inheritance. My death wasn't physical. It was a slow, suffocating demise of spirit, culminating in a forged signature on a contract that signed away my life. I died in a casino's back office, not with a bang, but with the quiet click of a loan shark's pen. The heavy oak door of the casino's back office slammed shut, the sound echoing the finality of a prison cell. The air, thick with the cloying scent of stale cigar smoke and cheap whiskey, feels heavy in my lungs. Across a ridiculously large mahogany desk, Vincent Kozlov slides a contract toward me. His nails are manicured, his suit is impeccable, but his eyes are those of a predator who has cornered his prey. A mere formality, he says, his voice a low, gravelly purr that does nothing to soothe the screaming in my head. I look down. It's a debt transfer agreement. My brother Derek's staggering $180,000 gambling debt, now legally mine. And there, at the bottom, is my name, signed in a hurried, desperate scrawl, a forgery, but a convincing one. I can almost picture Derek's hand shaking as he sold me out. The metallic taste of blood fills my mouth. I've bitten down on my tongue, hard. The pain is a sharp, grounding anchor in a sea of swirling rage and betrayal. My gaze lifts from the fraudulent signature to my brother. Derek is standing by the wall, refusing to meet my eyes. He's meticulously picking at his cuticles, a nervous habit he's had since we were children. He looks less like a grown man who just ruined his sister's life and more like a guilty child who broke a vase and is waiting for a scolding. My hands tremble, not with fear, but with a fury so potent, it feels like it could level this entire building. I clench them into fists, digging my nails into my palms. I want to scream. I want to launch myself across the desk and wipe that smug, self-satisfied smirk off Vincent Kozlov's face. But I don't. I hold it all in, letting the pressure build inside me like a gathering storm. The terms are simple, Vincent continues, oblivious to the tempest brewing within me. He leans back in his leather chair, a king on his throne. You will work at your brother's construction company. Your salary, a generous 50% of it, will go directly to me until the debt is paid in full, with interest, of course. He gestures vaguely at the fine print. It should only take you 3 years, give or take. 3 years. 3 years of unpaid labor breaking my back for a debt that isn't mine, in a company that should have been my birthright. A company my father built with his bare hands, a legacy Derek has tarnished with his weakness and greed. And what if I refuse, I ask, my voice surprisingly steady, even as my insides are churning. Vincent's smirk widens. It's a cruel, chilling sight. He taps the face of his gold Rolex, the diamonds glinting under the dim office light. You have 18 hours to report to the job site. The foreman is expecting you at 6 a.m. sharp. If you're not there, he pauses for dramatic effect, letting the threat hang in the air. We foreclose on your mother's house. My blood runs cold. Mom's house. The house we grew up in. The only real home I've ever known. He wouldn't. But I look at his cold, merciless eyes, and I know he would. He'd do it without a second thought. It's his leverage, the final, unbreakable link in the chain he's wrapping around my neck. Derek, I say, my voice a low whisper. How could you? He finally looks up, his eyes filled with a pathetic mixture of fear and shame. I didn't have a choice, Maya. He was going to hurt me. So you let him hurt me instead? The words are acid on my tongue. He flinches, looking away again. The coward. The clock is ticking, Maya, Vincent says, his tone laced with amusement. He enjoys this, the power, the control. He thrives on the desperation of people like my brother, and now, me. I stand up, my chair scraping against the floor. I force myself to look at Vincent, to meet his gaze head on. I memorize every detail of his face, the small scar above his eyebrow, the way his left eye twitches almost imperceptibly, the smug curl of his lips. I burn it into my memory, a promise to myself. One day, I will wipe that smirk off his face. I don't know how, and I don't know when, but I will. This isn't the end. This is the beginning. They've made a grave miscalculation. They think I'm a victim. They're about to find out I'm a survivor, and I'm coming for them both. The 18-hour countdown has begun, not just for me, but for them too. They just don't know it yet. I don't go home. I don't cry. I don't waste a single second on grief. The rage is a fire in my veins, clear and clarifying. It burns away the shock and leaves behind a cold, hard resolve. My first stop isn't the construction site. It's Derek's ridiculously overpriced apartment, the one he furnished with Vincent's dirty money. He's still at the casino, probably getting a pat on the back from Vincent for being such a cooperative little pawn. Perfect. I let myself in with the spare key I still have, a mistake he'll soon regret. The place reeks of desperation and expensive cologne. Half-empty bottles of top-shelf liquor litter the granite countertops. A new 80-inch television dominates one wall. A state-of-the-art gaming system is hooked up to it, complete with a virtual reality headset. I walk through the apartment, my phone out, documenting everything. I take pictures of the designer clothes spilling out of his closet, the receipts for online purchases tossed carelessly on his nightstand, the limited edition sneakers lined up like soldiers against the wall. Each photo is a piece of evidence, another nail in the coffin I'm building for him. Then, I go to work. I call an emergency locksmith. Yes, I've lost my keys and I'm worried about a recent break-in. I lie smoothly. I need every lock changed, immediately. Within an hour, a van pulls up. While the locksmith is drilling out the old locks, I'm online, creating a new, secure cloud account under a name Derek would never guess. I upload every photo, every digital breadcrumb of his reckless spending. I create a fortress of data that he can't touch. By the time I'm done, the apartment is a vault. His key is useless. His life of easy access is over. I leave the locksmith's bill taped to the new, impenetrable door. It doesn't take long. My phone buzzes with an incoming call, Derek. I let it go to voicemail. He calls again and again. Then the texts start. Maya, what the hell? I can't get in. Did you change the locks? Are you insane? Pick up the phone, I finally answer, putting the phone on speaker as I walk away from his now fortified apartment. Maya, you can't just lock me out, he shouts, his voice frantic, laced with the panic of a spoiled child who has just had his favorite toy taken away. I'm your brother. Brothers don't sell their sisters into slavery, I snap back. My voice as cold as the steel of the new deadbolt. You made your choice, Derek. Now you get to live with it. Consider this your eviction notice. But my stuff, my clothes, where am I supposed to go? I don't know, Derek. Maybe you should have thought about that before you forged my signature on a $180,000 death warrant, I say, and the satisfaction of hearing his sputtering silence is immense. By the way, I took pictures of everything. All those new toys you bought with Vincent's money. I wonder if he's seen them. I wonder if he knows you were lying about being broke. The line goes quiet. I can almost hear the gears turning in his head, the fear finally dawning on him. He didn't just betray me, he lied to a very dangerous man. You wouldn't, he whispers, his voice barely audible. Try me, I say, and hang up. The next morning, at 5:45 a.m., I pull up to the construction site. The air is crisp and cool, filled with the smell of diesel and damp earth. A black SUV is parked across the street, its tinted windows hiding Vincent's watchdogs. They're making sure I show up. I give them a little wave as I get out of my car, a silent message that I'm not running. Not yet. The foreman, a burly man named Gus with a face like a road map and hands like leather, looks me up and down with skepticism. You're Maya? He grunts, not bothering to hide his surprise. He was expecting someone else, anyone else. That's me, I say, my voice bright and cheerful, a mask for the exhaustion and fury simmering beneath the surface. He thrusts a hard hat into my hands. It's yellow and scuffed, and it smells like sweat. Right, Kozlov called, said you were the new addition. He clearly doesn't know what to make of me, The boss's daughter, the sister of the man who is supposed to be running this operation, showing up to do grunt work. So, what's my first assignment, boss? I ask, putting on the hard hat. He points a thick finger towards a monstrous, rumbling concrete mixer. You're on mud duty. Let's see what you're made of. I look at the mixer, then back at Gus. This is the bottom. The absolute bottom of a company that should legally be half mine. A company my father poured his heart and soul into. And as I walk towards the churning machine, the roar of the engine sounds like a battle cry. They think this is my punishment. They think they've broken me. They're wrong. This is my training ground. And I'm a very fast learner. I can feel the eyes of Vincent's men on me from across the street, watching, waiting for me to fail. I give them a show, heaving the bags of concrete mix with a strength I didn't know I possessed. Let them watch. Let them think they've won. Every drop of sweat, every aching muscle is just fuel for the fire. The game has just begun. The next few weeks are a blur of physical exhaustion and mental calculation. My days are spent in the dirt and dust of the construction site, my body aching in places I didn't know could ache. My nights are spent poring over the company's finances, the ones Derek so carelessly neglected. I've convinced Gus to let me into the site's small, cluttered office trailer after my shifts, under the guise of wanting to learn the business from the ground up. He's old school and he respects the hustle even if he doesn't understand it. What I find in the chaotic mess of invoices and payroll records is worse than I imagined. It's not just mismanagement, it's outright theft. Derek has been skimming from the workers' wages for months, creating ghost employees on the payroll and pocketing the cash. The crew, a loyal group of men who had worked for my father for years, is 3 months behind on pay. Their polite inquiries have turned into angry murmurs. Morale is at an all-time low. The project is behind schedule, and the whole operation is teetering on the brink of collapse. He wasn't just paying his gambling debts. He was funding his habit by stealing from the very men who put their trust in him. One sweltering afternoon, a pristine black sedan pulls up to the site, a stark contrast to the mud-caked trucks and heavy machinery. Vincent Kozlov steps out, his Italian leather shoes somehow avoiding the puddles and muck. He surveys the scene of disorganized chaos, his expression one of deep displeasure. He looks like a king inspecting a crumbling corner of his kingdom. He walks over to me where I'm checking a shipment of rebar, my hands grimy, my face streaked with dirt. He doesn't seem to care about my appearance. He only cares about his investment. Your brother promised me this project would turn a profit, he says, his voice low and dangerous. He doesn't need to raise it to be intimidating. He showed me projections, schedules, profit margins, all very impressive. But this, he gestures at the half-finished structure, the idle workers. This is hemorrhaging money, my money. I straighten up, wiping a bead of sweat from my brow with the back of my gloved hand. I look him directly in the eye. Maybe that's because he's been stealing from the payroll, I say, my voice clear and loud, carrying over the hum of the nearby generator. Several of the workers, who had been watching Vincent's arrival with a mixture of fear and resentment, stop what they're doing and turn to listen. Vincent's eyes narrow, the air grows thick with tension. He glances at the watchful crew, then back at me. That's a serious accusation. It's a serious problem, I counter. These men haven't been paid properly in 3 months. How can you expect a project to be profitable when the workforce is ready to mutiny? Prove it, he challenges, his voice a silky threat. But there's a flicker of something in his eyes, a dawning realization. He's a smart man. He must have been wondering where the money was really going, why the numbers weren't adding up. Derek's story of being broke and desperate was starting to unravel. The proof is in the office trailer, I say, gesturing with my head. In the doctored timesheets and the fake employee files. But you don't need a paper trail to see the truth. Just look at these men's faces. Vincent's gaze sweeps over the crew again, lingering on their hard, angry expressions. He's a businessman, first and foremost. He understands assets and liabilities, and right now, he's looking at a group of very angry, very significant liabilities. He turns back to me, a new kind of calculation in his eyes. The smirk is gone, replaced by a cold, appraising look. He's not just seeing his debtor anymore. He's seeing someone who understands his business, someone who can see the rot at its core. The merciless afternoon sun beats down on us, and a sickening realization dawns on me. Vincent doesn't just want his money back. That's too small, too simple for a man like him. He wants to own this, all of it. He saw a failing business run by a desperate fool, and he planned to bleed it dry, then pick up the pieces for pennies on the dollar. He wasn't just a loan shark, he was a vulture. And he was counting on me to be his unpaid manager, the one who would clean up Derek's mess and hand him a profitable company on a silver platter. "Fix it," he says, his voice leaving no room for argument. It's not a request, it's a command. "Get this project back on schedule. Handle the payroll. You have 1 week to show me progress, real progress, or the deal for your mother's house is back on the table." He turns and walks back to his car, his pristine shoes finally getting a speck of mud on them. I watch him go, my heart pounding in my chest. He thinks he's just given me an impossible task. He thinks he's tightening the leash. But he's made a critical error. He's given me power. He's given me access. And he has no idea what I'm capable of. He's opened the door to the henhouse, and he's about to find out that I'm the fox. The game has changed. I'm not just a pawn anymore, I'm a player, and I'm ready to make my move. The office trailer becomes my sanctuary, my war room. Under the flickering fluorescent lights, surrounded by the smell of stale coffee and sawdust, I dive deeper into the labyrinth of Derek's deceit. Vincent gave me a week to show progress, and I'm using every single minute. I'm not just fixing the payroll, I'm conducting a full-scale forensic audit. I trace every dollar, every invoice, every transaction. I cross-reference bank statements with company ledgers, looking for the holes in his story. And then I find it. It's hidden in a folder mislabeled Old Tax Records, a place he must have thought no one would ever look. It's a series of bank transfers, small at first, then growing larger, to an entity I don't recognize. Prometheus Capital Holdings. It sounds official, corporate. But something about it feels wrong. It's too clean, too anonymous. A few hours of late-night digging online, and the pieces start to click into place. Prometheus Capital is a shell corporation, registered in the Cayman Islands. A digital ghost. And its sole purpose is to funnel money into high-stakes, offshore online gambling sites. My breath catches in my throat. Derek hadn't just been skimming from the payroll to pay off his local debts. He'd been using Vincent's loan money, the very money that enslaved me, to place even bigger, riskier bets. He was using a shark's money to swim with whales. It's a level of recklessness that's almost suicidal. But that's not the reversal. That's just more of Derek's predictable stupidity. The real bomb is in the next set of files. Encrypted statements from one of these offshore sites. It takes me 2 days and a very helpful online tutorial on basic code breaking to get past the password protection. Mom's birthday, the idiot. And there it is, in black and white. He won. He didn't just win. He hit a massive, life-altering jackpot. A string of unbelievably lucky bets on a series of international soccer matches. My eyes scan the numbers, my mind struggling to process the figures. Winnings, payouts. A final balance that makes me feel lightheaded. Derek isn't broke. He's not desperate. He's sitting on nearly $400,000 in a hidden, untraceable offshore account. The air leaves my lungs in a rush. I lean back in the squeaky office chair, the rust-stained metal groaning under my weight. The trailer suddenly feels too small, the air too thin. He had the money. He had the money to pay Vincent back. He had the money to save Mom's house. He had the money to undo all of this, and he did nothing. He let me take the fall. He let me sign my life away. He let me work like a dog in the mud and the filth, all while he was sitting on a fortune. It wasn't about survival. It wasn't about being scared of Vincent. It was about greed. Pure, unadulterated greed. He wanted to keep his winnings. He wanted to have it all, his secret nest egg and his sister as a human shield. A wave of nausea washes over me, followed by an ice-cold clarity. The anger is still there, a hot coal in my chest, but it's different now. It's not the wild, explosive rage of betrayal anymore. It's a focused, deliberate, and infinitely more dangerous fury. He didn't just underestimate me. He handed me the weapon I needed to destroy him. but my mind is already racing past the anger, past the betrayal. I'm thinking about the future. I pull out the tattered copy of my father's will that I keep in my wallet. I know its contents by heart. In 6 months, on my 25th birthday, the final clause of the will takes effect. Full ownership and control of Kozlov Construction transfers to me, provided I have been an active and responsible party in its management. If I am deemed to have abandoned my responsibilities, control passes to Derek. That's his endgame. This whole charade, this performance of a desperate, victimized brother, it's all a play. He needs me here, working under these impossible conditions, hoping I'll break, hoping I'll run. If I quit, if I walk away, I'm abandoning my responsibilities. He can use Vincent's manufactured crisis to paint me as unreliable, and he'll walk away with everything, his offshore fortune and our father's company. I don't waste time being angry anymore. The time for emotion is over. Now, it's time for a plan. A real plan. One that doesn't just get me out of this mess, but makes both of these arrogant, corrupt men pay forever thinking they could control me. I look at the screen, at the numbers that represent Derek's secret fortune, and I start to smile. A slow, cold, calculating smile. He thinks his money is safe. He thinks his plan is foolproof. He thinks he's so much smarter than everyone else. He has no idea. I'm not just going to expose him. I'm not just going to take back my company. I'm going to drain that account. I'm going to make him feel the same crushing, hopeless desperation he so callously inflicted on me. He thinks he's a player in a high-stakes game. He's about to find out he's just the pot, and I'm about to rake it all in. Vincent wants his money. I'll make sure he gets it, just not from me. And Derek wants a company. I'll make sure he has nothing left but the debts he so richly deserves. The board is set, the pieces are in place, and it's my turn to move. The first part of my plan is deceptively simple. Give Vincent exactly what he wants. Progress. I take the evidence of Derek's payroll skimming to Gus and the senior crew members. I don't present it as an accusation. I frame it as a discovery of accounting errors. I show them my plan to pay back every cent of their missing wages, starting immediately using the company's operating funds. Derek, he's not good with numbers, I say, feigning disappointment. My dad always handled this side of things. It's a mess, but I'm going to make it right. Their anger at Derek is palpable, but their trust in my father, and by extension, me, is stronger. By the end of the day, I have the crew back on my side. They work with a renewed sense of purpose, and the project lurches back to life. When Vincent's men come to check on the site, they see a flurry of activity, a well-oiled machine. I make sure to send Vincent a detailed report, complete with a revised budget and schedule, showing the project is back on track and projecting a modest profit. I'm the perfect, diligent manager he wanted. I'm fixing his problem. While he's placated, I move on to the second part of my plan. Sabotage. The city building inspection is scheduled for the end of the week. I know the codes, the regulations, the potential violations better than anyone. My father taught me. During my nightly sessions in the office trailer, I find a series of overlooked issues. A section of wiring that isn't up to code. A discrepancy in the foundational support specifications. Minor things, easily fixed, but glaring violations nonetheless. I document them meticulously, then make sure the evidence is left in plain sight for any inspector to find. The day of the inspection, I'm a model of cooperative concern. I've just been going over the blueprints, I tell the city inspector, a stern-faced woman named Miss Albright. And I'm a little worried about some of the work done before I took over daily operations. She finds the violations within 20 minutes. The result is a big red stop work order slapped on the site's gate. While the fallout from that is still settling, I make an anonymous phone call. I'd like to report a serious issue, I say to the receptionist at the State Labor Board, using a disposable burner phone. Kozlov Construction. They haven't been paying their workers correctly for months. The new manager is trying to fix it, but the owner, Derek, is a real piece of work. I think you should look into it. The combination is devastating. A suspended project and a labor board investigation. Within hours, Derek's business license is suspended pending a full audit. The cash cow isn't just crippled, it's been put out of its misery. My phone rings and it's Derek. He's screaming. Maya, what the hell did you do? He shrieks, his voice cracking with panic. I can hear muffled voices in the background, one of them low and menacing. Vincent's men have already paid him a visit. I did what I had to do, I say calmly, my voice a stark contrast to his hysteria. I documented everything, Derek. Your embezzlement, the payroll fraud, the safety violations you've been ignoring for months. It's all in a very safe place. You're going to get us both killed, he pleads, the bravado gone, replaced by raw terror. No, Derek, I say, and for the first time, I let the ice in my voice show I'm saving myself. You're the one who is going to have to answer for your own mistakes. I hear Vincent's voice in the background, sharp and angry. What did she say? Where's my money, you little punk? The real money. The line goes dead. A text message from Vincent arrives a minute later. It's a picture of the foreclosure notice for my mother's house. The auction date has been moved up to tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. He's playing his last card. He's trying to corner me, to force me to come to him, to beg. He thinks he still has leverage, but I'm already gone. I walk back into my small, quiet apartment. It feels like a lifetime ago that I was here, a different person. I pack a single suitcase, a few changes of clothes, my laptop, a hard drive containing every piece of evidence I've gathered. I look around the space, at the life I'm about to leave behind. There's a pang of sadness, but it's fleeting. That life was an illusion anyway. I place my apartment keys on the clean kitchen counter. I won't need them again. My phone buzzes one last time. It's Elena, a tech-savvy friend from college who owes me a favor. She's the one who helped me set up the sophisticated program to access Derek's offshore account. My message to her was simple. Now. Her reply is even simpler. It's done. Happy trails. I take a deep breath. The safety net is gone. The bridges are burned. There's no turning back. And for the first time in a long time, I feel completely and utterly free. Vincent and Derek are about to have a very bad day, and I won't be there to see it. I'll be somewhere else entirely, starting my new life. The one I've earned. The summons comes as a text message from a number I don't recognize. Mr. Kozlov requests your presence. His private booth at the casino. Now. Don't be late. There's no threat attached. There doesn't need to be. The foreclosure on Mom's house is hours away. This is the final move in his game. I take my time getting ready. I choose a simple, elegant black dress. Something that says, I'm not here to work, and I'm not here to be intimidated. I do my hair, my makeup. I look in the mirror and see a stranger looking back at me. Her eyes are cold, her expression unreadable. She looks like a woman who has nothing left to lose. And that's exactly what I am. When I walk into the casino, the familiar cacophony of slot machines and piped-in music washes over me. But this time, I'm not a victim being led to the slaughter. I'm a player, walking into the final round. One of Vincent's gorillas, a man built like a refrigerator, meets me by the entrance and leads me through the crowded floor, up a private elevator, and to a secluded booth overlooking the main gaming area. Vincent is sitting at the table, a glass of amber liquid in his hand. And next to him, looking pale and sweaty, is Derek. 2 more bodyguards stand impassively behind them, blocking the only exit. The air is thick with menace. Maya, Vincent purrs, gesturing to the empty seat across from him. So glad you could make it. We were just having a fascinating conversation. I sit down, placing my small clutch on the table. I don't say a word. I just look at him, my expression neutral. Your brother, Vincent continues, swirling the liquid in his glass, has finally decided to be honest with me. It turns out he hasn't been entirely forthcoming about his financial situation. He slides a tablet across the polished wood table. On the screen is a bank statement, Prometheus Capital Holdings, and a balance of just under $400,000. He told me all about his little offshore nest egg, Vincent says, his eyes gleaming with a triumphant, predatory light. He thinks he's won. He thinks he has all the cards. I glance at the tablet, then at Derek. His face is a mask of terror. He's looking at me, his eyes pleading, help me fix this, the pathetic fool. I turn my gaze back to Vincent. Funny thing about gambling addicts, I say, my voice calm and conversational. I reach into my clutch and pull out my own phone. They never know when to stop. Vincent's smile falters. What are you talking about? He demands, his voice losing some of its silky smoothness. I don't answer him. I just turn my phone's screen towards Derek. His eyes widen, his face going from pale to chalk white. The color drains from his face as if he's seen a ghost. On my screen is a different bank statement, the same account number. But the balance is different. 0. What is this? Vincent snarls, snatching the phone from my hand. He stares at the screen, his knuckles white. What kind of trick is this? It's not a trick, I say, my voice still light, almost cheerful. It's a wire transfer, actually, several of them. I've been moving his money for weeks. A little at a time, so as not to raise any alarms. I lean forward, my voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. Every cent he stole from your payroll, I paid back to the workers with interest. Every dollar he embezzled from the company, I put back into its accounts. The rest of it, I sent it to a charity for gambling addiction. Anonymously, of course. On Derek's behalf, it seemed fitting. The silence in the booth is absolute. The only sound is the faint dinging of slot machines from the floor below. Vincent and Derek are both staring at me, their faces a mixture of disbelief and dawning horror. They're both realizing at the exact same moment that they've been completely and utterly outplayed. Where is my money? Vincent finally snarls, his voice a low, guttural roar. He lunges across the table, his face contorted in a mask of fury. His bodyguards move to grab me, but before they can, a new sound cuts through the air. It's faint at first, then grows louder, more insistent. Sirens, dozens of them, all converging on the casino. What have you done? Vincent hisses, his eyes darting towards the entrance. I stand up, smoothing down my dress. I'm no longer afraid. The fear has been burned away, replaced by a cold, exhilarating calm. Someone, I say, my voice ringing with a clarity that cuts through the panic, tipped off the FBI about a certain casino owner who has been laundering money for some very unpleasant people. They also provided them with detailed records of illegal lending practices and extortion. Just then, the doors to the casino burst open. Men and women in dark blue jackets with FBI emblazoned in yellow letters flood the gaming floor. Panic erupts. People are screaming, running. The idyllic facade of the casino shatters into a million pieces. Vincent is frozen, his face a grotesque caricature of rage and disbelief. Derek looks like he's about to be sick. I lean in close to Vincent, my final parting shot. Check your email, I tell him, my voice a sweet poison in his ear. Then, as federal agents swarm towards our booth, I turn and slip out the back exit of the booth, the one the bodyguards had been blocking. They are too distracted by the chaos to notice. I melt into the screaming, surging crowd, just another face in the panic. I don't look back. In his private booth, amidst the chaos of the raid, Vincent Kozlov, the man who thought he was untouchable, fumbles for his phone. He finds the email I sent. The subject line is simple. Your client list. He opens it to find a meticulously organized spreadsheet containing the names, contact information, and transaction histories of every single person he has ever laundered money for, every politician he has ever bribed, every life he has ever ruined. At the bottom of the email is a short message. A copy has been sent to the Department of Justice. Enjoy prison. M. The last thing he sees before the agents put him in handcuffs is my name, a final digital ghost haunting him. 6 months later, the air in my new office smells of fresh paint and possibility. It's smaller than Vincent's gaudy back room, but it's mine. From my window, I can see the skyline of a new city, a place where no one knows my name, where I am not defined by my brother's sins or a loan shark's greed. I am now the sole owner of Kozlov Construction, a name I am in the process of changing. My father's company is mine, free and clear. After Vincent's arrest, his assets were frozen. I filed a victim's claim, backed by the mountain of evidence I had compiled. The courts agreed. A significant portion of his seized funds were awarded to me as restitution, payment for the forced labor, the extortion, the emotional distress. I used the first check to pay off my mother's house. She doesn't know the whole story, and she never will. She just knows that her daughter, who she thought was lost, somehow managed to save her. It's a comfortable lie we can both live with. The rest of the money I am using to rebuild the company, my father's true legacy. I'm paying his victims, the other small businesses Vincent bled dry, the families he ruined, including myself. I've started a fund managed by a proper law firm to quietly compensate them. It's a slow process, but it's the right one. Derek got off relatively easy. He took a plea bargain, testifying against Vincent in exchange for a lighter sentence. He's serving 18 months for embezzlement. I get a letter from him sometimes, full of remorse and self-pity. I don't write back. He is a ghost from a past life, a brother I no longer have. He chose his path, I chose mine. Vincent got 15 years for racketeering, money laundering, and a host of other charges. He'll be an old man when he gets out, his empire crumbled to dust. Sometimes, late at night, when the city is quiet, I think about that night in the casino. The fear, the rage, the dizzying, terrifying freedom of taking control. They thought they could use me, a pawn in their dirty little game. They never stopped to consider that the pawn might have its own plans. They never realized that by pushing me into the dirt, they were just giving me a better view of their own fatal flaws. I sleep better than I have in years. There's a peace that comes with justice, a quiet satisfaction in knowing that sometimes the best revenge isn't about seeking vengeance. It's about building a better life on the ashes of the one they tried to burn down. It's about letting corrupt men, blinded by their own greed and arrogance, destroy themselves. All you have to do is watch, document everything, and give them a little push in the right direction. Some debts can only be paid in justice, and my account is finally settled,